access to it. And as we begin this celebration of love, may we truly express it in all that we do. And may your love come to guide us in all. This is our prayer through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Sorry, kindly rise on your feet for the youth anthem, please. At a time like this, when we come together from the east and the west, from the north and south, when we come together in the name of Jesus Christ, O Lord, arise and shine. O Lord, arise and shine. For God and for youth.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So without wasting our time here, so we can actually proceed to other things we have. Let's move on with the talk of the day. And then we have 3 speakers who are going to be talking to us on different things, actually. But these are things that actually relate to us as young members of our church, young members of our society. So please, let's call on Mr. Victor Banjo. A round of applause, please. So he is our first speaker. Mr. Banjo, thanks for making yourself available.
Thank you very much. Can I tap? Okay, let me stand there because I'll need to tap my screen. Okay, and once again, thank you for inviting me. My name is Victor Banjo. Actually, most people don't know I'm actually a very shy person. So, but by virtue of what I do, I've learned to open my eyes and learn to talk. So when you are speaking about the concept of paradigm shift, situations will actually make you change. Either you are forced to, or you actually find the motivation inside you to see the need for change. And since I've been asked to use my experience to speak, so my experience is exactly what I'm going to use to speak. When people actually meet you and actually see, oh, what's on the screen, they think, oh my God, you've done so much in your life. But what they don't realize is that at the age of 15, I had a very bad accident. I was given 6 pints of blood, and the priest actually came and administered the last sacrament because they actually thought I was going to die. So that was a changing point in my life. At that point in time, you know, when you are kind of disobedient, you don't listen to your parents, you actually don't, you think, oh, what do they know they can tell me? But when I had that accident and I spent 2 months in the hospital, came out, I could not walk. And I saw my brothers and sisters going back to school and was left at home. It happened in June when I was writing my WAEC. I had 2 more papers to write. I was actually wheeled in an ambulance to write 2 papers, sitting in that vehicle. And when they were all at home with me, it was good. But when school resumed and everybody went back to school, my eye, as I say, the scales fell from my eyes. The reality dawned on me that, Victor, nobody is there for you. Because at the end of the day, my brothers and my sisters, they have their own lives to live, and they will chart their lives. They won't wait for me. And from that point in time, I realized, Victor, get up and do something with your life. And some of those bad habits that got you to where you are now, drop them. That was my first exposure to the concept of paradigm shift. So because of that incident, that is the reason why I'm who I am today. I've been fortunate. I currently work at Lagos Business School. I'm a director at Lagos Business School, in charge of everything except MBA, so which is about, okay. And I also sit on the board of 2 other companies and many other ones which we don't have space to talk about. But the key thing is, along the way, everything you see on the screen has been through the benevolence of God and also through the help of people who actually saw what I could do and who also actually saw the need for having me on their team. So nothing happens without God, and God will actually guide you to people, but you have to speak in the presence of those people. If you go back to the Bible, God told Moses, go to Abi, but when he got there, he had to do what? He had to speak. And so for everybody, in every situation, you have to speak. And so, in addition to what I've done, when you look at my profile, you see that I don't belong to one profession. Because some people think I'm a human resource practitioner. Yes, I am. Some people actually think I'm a corporate governance, lecturer. Yes, I am. Some people actually think I teach. Yes, I am, because I have 3 sets of qualifications in all those areas. What happened was, as the world was changing, I saw the need to do what? To change. I mean, I went to school, I left Ife with a degree in English. But one day I closed my eyes and said, how far will this degree in English take me? And I realized, quite frankly, I was good at writing love letters in school. And I made a lot of money, by the way. Always commercialize any skill you have. But I realized that going forward, I needed to do something different. So I started making those changes in my life, and it began to actually show the difference. So if there's anything I will say to you today, okay, while the screen is coming up, I can speak on every slide without the screen. That's why, because I prepared it. The other way I've learned a lot is, we all have preconceptions. There are things we think of other people. But what has helped me to change what I think of other people has been travel. I've been fortunate to visit so far 22 countries in Africa, and I've met people who have educated me and also corrected the way I thought they were before I met them. I've slept in 32 states in this country. So when I see it and people tell me, oh, these people are like this, they are like that, sometimes it's not true. And I ask them, have you ever slept in Kawa na Moda? Have you been to Gashua before? Because if you have not been with people, don't form your opinion on them, and sometimes lose out on opportunities to actually grow, because the people that God actually used to actually elevate you, they're the same people that your paradigm has actually stopped you from doing what? Engaging or opening your mind to. I tell people there is no state in Nigeria where I will show up where there will be no house where I can get a bed to sleep. It's because of what? I've opened my mind. And what does that really tell us? It tells you that you need to actually have what is called a paradigm shift. What is it? It's basically about somebody said he's a software developer, right? When you create a program, each and every one of you have a program inside you. You have been programmed either by actually where your parents come from, the kind of values and behavior your parents actually demonstrated at home, and that shaped your values. Your values determine your paradigm, who you like, who you don't like, how you think, the kind of risk you are willing to take, what you do, what you will not do. My father would say, don't spoil your name. Remember the son of who you are. And that has always stayed with me. So that's about paradigm. So should I enter politics today, would I carry Ghana must go bags? I probably won't win elections because I won't share money. So those are some of the things that I ask you is, would anything make me change the way I am and start giving up money because I want to win elections? No, I won't. I would rather not win that election than compromise my values in order to win. Maybe that's why I'm not a billionaire, because there are some things we won't do, honestly. And I told somebody the other day, I was once offered a federal appointment, not joking, to actually chair a government agency. But by the time I was actually being made to actually meet the wife of the president, and I was told what they wanted. 2015 elections. I was supposed to bring money out. I called my wife. This is actually what they're asking for in Abuja. I said, I can't do it. And I walked away. The person that accepted the job ended up in EFCC arrest. All of you have been wondering, oh, and we know that man, no, Victor Banjo. We thought he was a quiet person. I could have made billions, but my name, my family, my wife, my children, they would have been tainted. I rejected it. But I'm alive today, and I tell people the same phone number I've been using since 2005, same number I still carry. Nobody is chasing me. I don't have to change it. At the same time, I've not starved. My children have not starved, and God has actually been good to us. So if you need to actually make any changes, make sure you're actually changing for good. Ask yourself, who will benefit from the change I want to make? And there are some changes we need to make. I've already spoken about this. And sometimes the kind of paradigm shift you need is to ask yourself, if I stick to this career, would I succeed? Where would I be 5 years from now? That was the first change I made when I read English. I said, Victor, close your eyes. If you do nothing more with what you have, where will you be 10 years from now? It didn't look good. So I realized I needed to go and do something. That's how I ended up studying human resources at postgrad level. And it opened another paradigm for me. I learned so much about the way people behave. I did psychology, and it made me a better person. It also taught me one thing, that the world we live in today is a pressure cooker. So if you don't learn how to manage it, manage yourself, you will get yourself burnt out. So that's why I commend you for actually having this event. It's good to share experiences. Some of us, we've had to manage ourselves. Sometimes you get close to high blood pressure. What you have to do is you have to pull back and say, it's not worth it. Some of us, we quit jobs because at the end of the day, you ask yourself, do I choose between a high-flying job and also compromise my health? I'm sure you can speak to that as well. So the exposure I have has shaped my life, and you can see technology, environmental pressure. People talk about work from home. So for years, Lagos people have been working from traffic. So what's the big deal? So it didn't really change anything for a lot of us. But for some people, when they said work from home, it was a major challenge for them in terms of how am I going to cope? I won't see my friends. I won't see my colleagues, my girlfriend, my boyfriend. What's going to happen to us? But you will survive. And we have all survived it. And the biggest change for most of us in terms of paradigm shift has been when COVID happened. And for those of us who actually run universities and business schools, it affected us a lot. Why am I saying this? It was at the time when, for many people, going to lectures was all about what? Leaving their houses, carrying their bag, entering the car, and actually turning up in school physically. So what happened to all of you when COVID happened? One, you couldn't go, or they told you not to come. In our own case, we had to now think of how else can we deliver learning? And when you have to do that, it's about what you call this, the old system was disrupted. Sometimes you are forced to change your paradigm when a system is disrupted, when the technology evolves, and again, when, for example, you actually find yourself doing what? You have to basically rethink that if I keep on doing it this way, will I get to where I want? And like the UN Secretary General said, he said it was the biggest disruption to over 1.6 billion people globally. And people were forced to do what? To innovate. So innovation is a paradigm shift, because it's about finding new ways to do things. And ideally, it should be better things. And so what did it also teach us? That the pandemic, as we call it, it shaped our lives. That one, the workplace is not physical. The workplace is in your head. And as long as you can think, rethink, and relearn, work will not stop, and your productivity will not suffer. So we learned a lot from that as well. And my question to you is, with all these things happening, were you able to change? What did you change during COVID-19? My dear brother, what did you change?
I learned to be innovative. Innovative. In computer programming.
He learned computer programming because he realized he could actually get something better and also learn better. And like we asked ourselves at LBS, were we ready for it? Many people were not, because all of a sudden, the idea of working from home, people no longer see learning as actually being limited to the books. People actually now realize that they can sit here in Lagos and learn in China and actually attend schools. But when people ask me, Victor, were you shocked when COVID happened? I told them no, because of the kind of training I had. As far back as 2012, I was already doing online learning, virtual learning, synchronous learning. I was already collecting certificates online. Who knows the meaning of MOOCs? M-O-O-C-S. What does it mean? That you are the younger ones. What does it stand for? M-O-O-C-S. So you can't let a 54-year-old man be lecturing you on technology. Okay, it stands for Massive Open Online Courses. Massive Open Online Courses. I have been doing that since 2012. I will go to work, I'll come back, I will log onto my system in my study, and I was taking all these courses at Princeton without leaving Lagos, at Barcelona without leaving Lagos, in Virginia without leaving Lagos, and also in Barcelona. All of this I did, collected my certificates online, and I learned from there, and I'm using the skills. So when the whole idea of COVID, people having to work from home happened, I was not shocked. It was what I was already doing. But for many people, it was a classic example of paradigm shift. So what should you learn to do from now on is you need to actually start doing what is called a future thinking. What does future thinking mean? Future thinking is what? It's like you carry, like it's basically taking a trip into the future, that what will the future look like? Anticipate it, and then plan for it so that when it happens, your system will not actually be shocked. Build your own stabilizers so that your system can absorb the shock at any time. So those were the things I did. And so when my school had to pivot, it wasn't difficult. I had good examples of what has happened before that we could copy and innovate, like you've actually said. So, and if you think you're the only one that didn't see the future happening, there was actually one very important man. I met him once. He was the dean of Harvard Business School, Professor Nitin Nora. In 2009, he announced publicly that not in his lifetime, Harvard, many of you know Harvard is actually what, in terms of business schools, the biggest in the world, that Harvard University would never consider doing online training. So what is that? In 2019, Harvard Business School officially changed the name of a portal they have to Harvard Business School Online. They realized that it was inevitable. It's a paradigm shift. And guess what? In 2018, Harvard made over $40 million from only one course that this business school online offered. So the man had to come to his senses that this is something that we cannot afford to ignore. So if a whole professor got it wrong, who are we to say we don't have a weakness of not being able to see the future? Not just any professor, the leader of the best business school that we are told exists in the world. And that is why when you talk about innovation, like Raki said, then all the examples we know of, like the likes of Amazon, who really don't have stores, Uber, and all those things, it's about innovation, it's about paradigm shift. Think differently. Can I own hotels without owning hotels? Yes, it's called Airbnb. Can I actually run a taxi company without putting my money at risk for taxi cabs? Yes. Uber, Bolt, all of them. So the risk is done what? It's passed to other people. It's a different way of thinking. Reduce the risk on yourself. I remember listening to Andy, the founder of Uber, once at a conference in London, and he said, for us, it makes sense is we don't have the money. All we have to do is find enough money to develop an app, and people will be asked to basically what? Put their vehicles forward, and we share the risk. And the other thing I would say about paradigm shift is, what paradigm shift did I adopt to make the future better? Like I said, my degree in English was not enough. And when I graduated, it was difficult to actually get a job. So what did I do? I decided to take a job as a volunteer. So for 3 months, I was not earning any money, but I was leaving home and I'm going to work. And I lost my father during my youth service. So I didn't have any money coming in. And I also knew I wasn't going to inherit any property, because with 4 wives fighting over everything, I had to take my mind off that. So, but during those 3 months, they saw what I could do. At the end of the 3 months, the same company that gave me a desk to be doing what I learned to, what I know how to do, that I wasn't being paid for, actually offered me a job and actually paid me for the 3 months that I spent without pay. So It's all about the paradigm shift you talk about. So while you can wait for some people to offer you a job, but your skills won't be showcased. I could be sitting in my house writing letter upon letter. I beg to apply. Nobody knows I'm applying for a job. And there's something I always learned. It's not who you know. It's actually who knows you. Did they know that I existed? Until I was in their front, in their face. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know how good I could be at what I was doing. And that taught me a lesson, and I realized you must always do what? Upskill yourself. I told my daughter when she came home for Christmas, she studied law, first degree. Again, because of the advice I always gave her, immediately she finished, she went and did a master's in law, and then she became a solicitor called to the bar. That every year, don't think you are the best at what you do, because there are a new set of graduates coming out who are actually better skilled than you are. So the market will probably consider them before they consider you, unless you do what? Continue to do what? Upskill. So that's why, as I'm talking to you now, my dear brothers and sisters, I'm starting another program next year. Yes. I'm starting a DBA, Doctorate in Business Administration, because there are things I don't know that I will know now would actually be of value to me as well. And if you also notice one thing, I've worked in supply chain, I've worked in stock control, I've done IT work, because at every point in time, my father used to say, any skill you have will not go to waste. My father used to own a building construction company. I learned how to basically cast block. So when you are building your own house, you will know if they want to cheat you, you will tell them you can't do that. My wife will tell you, our first house in London, I was the one that did all the tiling in the kitchen, the bathroom, and laid the carpet. So nobody can cheat me when it comes to building. Learn these skills. Don't be too proud to put yourself through that. And the other thing that I would also do for you is be humble and be open to correction. When I made up my mind to study human resources management in London, as you know, I only managed to get C6 in maths. So I was happy that just let my people go. So when I decided to register for HR postgraduate in London, I was shocked when they told me, oh, Mr. Banjo, before you can do the HR modules in the second year, you need to actually do financial management, you need to do IT. I beg, what is all of this? When I complained, the lady said, please, HR does not exist in a vacuum, that you are the heart of the business. I moaned for 2 days, but I had to go and learn from my chartered accountant friends. Come and teach me how to do NPV. What's NPV? Who's an accountant here? Net present value, P&L, all those things, ratios. I had to learn it. But guess what? Am I glad that I did? Because years later, when I became a director of a company, when I'm sitting on boards now, what is the job of a board? You are basically you are looking at strategy. You are looking at the accounts of the business. Is your business doing well? Where are the red points? Where are the red areas you should be concerned about? So whether you study English, philosophy, or whatever it is, you need numbers. So it was a major shift for me, and you can see on the screen I said, a simple paradigm shift is all it takes to change your life forever. It changed mine, and it made me a more impactful person in every place I've had to work. Even in HR, when you become a director, your department has to submit a budget. And a budget is made of what? Numbers. It's part of the P&L. So if you don't understand numbers and how P&L works and how you are creating value for the company, you won't be of any value to your colleagues. So it's important to bear that in mind as you go along. And you have to be intentional in your networking. People think it's a waste of time when some of us will wear CMO uniform, come and sit here. Do you know what this means? This is actually the future of the world. This is where trust builds. There is nobody who comes here that I will see that I will actually not recognize, that I will not acknowledge if he says, Victor, somebody is coming from my office to see you. So you have to be intentional about it. I have a big meeting tomorrow with our budget defense meeting. I haven't finished working at it, but I'm here speaking to you because you are the future of the church. the future of CMO, future of CWO, and basically you are the laity that's really going to guide this church. So if you don't create the time to be here, who will? So, and that is why I always tell people, become friends with people who are not your age. Some of you here are my friends because we are I'm looking at Sister Lucy there because we are in the board of lectors together, we are in Legion of Mary together. We are friends. Okay? Hang out with people whose first language is not your own. Along the way, you might learn to speak the language, and that may actually become an asset to you in future when it comes to roles where they want to offer a job down to 2 people, and the role is in Senegal. And because Ifeanyi speaks French, I don't speak French, Ifeanyi gets the job. And you're wondering, but that is unfair. I got 2 points more than him. Ifeanyi will start creating value from the point he lands in Senegal while I'm trying to learn the language for 3 months. And people are carrying big business in front of me, and I don't even know what they're discussing. That is strategy about the kind of things you need to think and do. So this is how I see the world, and it's important that there is no group that I don't have time for. I mean, the other day, the priest, who is actually the principal of my secondary school, was there to celebrate Mass. Father introduced him. After the Mass, I went to him, I hugged him. I said, I was in that school as a young 10-year-old until my 5th year. And we talked about the school, what we are doing. And I said, I'm actually on the board of trustees of the old student association. The logo is there. We meet every month. I attend that meeting. I did my A-levels at Olugbolu Federal Government College. Some of you were here when Victor Okolo's family came out to do the, Thanksgiving. His best friend was here that day, Victor Ubaru. Victor was my classmate. I last saw him about 39 years ago. He saw me, he jumped. See, that is exactly what is important. So never look down on anybody. I know that some people, either because of the way your parents have brought you up, you think some people are lower than you. It will be the biggest mistake you ever make. The world changes like this. The same way roads have bumps. There are days when the bumps will push you down and they put other people up. They won't lift you up if you are not there for them. Even if you're not just saying, hello, good morning, how are you? And the other schools I've also been to, and the other organizations. Some of you, I look out for you on LinkedIn. I don't see you, and I laugh. Maybe Augusta, and I tell you, why are you not on LinkedIn? Why are you not active? Opportunities cannot find you if you actually don't make yourself present and available. I like the way Chizoba actually promotes our business online. That's how opportunity finds you. It might take a bit of self-confidence boosting, and I'll explain how I've done it in my life with a very simple picture. This is picture. My mother once said, Victor, if you see a girl you like, walk up to her and tell her. The word she will say is no. That has been my guiding principle. There is nobody in this world I cannot walk up to and say hello to. Whether you're a Supreme Court Justice, whether you're the Oba of Lagos, whether you're Tony Elumelu, or you're anybody, my father say, they're human beings like you. The same blood that flows in you flows in them. It's only a title, and they won't carry that title forever. That was a major paradigm shift for me. It boosted my confidence, and nobody is too big to talk to. Because we're all humans. We breathe the same here. And if you have that perspective, nothing will stop your way. So the biggest paradigm shift is about what? Inside you. And like I see on my last slide, it says, don't blame village people for everything. Oh, yes, sir. When you are doing something that is out of the ordinary, keep on doing it. Because the only thing that stops you is by am I sure this is what I want to do? It's about your paradigm. It's exactly what you have been programmed to believe is the only way you can act and succeed. But ask yourself, if you have always been complacent, everything that comes up your way, you will approach it with complacency. If you have fear, if you worry all your life, if you're not good at taking risks, how will you succeed? All the best inventions in the world, whether it's actually the plane, the submarine, everything, people stake their lives for this to happen. So the biggest obstacle to achieving great things is your current paradigm. So the sooner you actually work on it, better. And that's why people have mentors and coaches. When you say, look, I'm thinking about this, but I have my concerns, then they will actually share it. Oh, is that what you're thinking about? I've been in that position too. Have you ever walked from Bagada to Ikeja for 3 months without money? I have. But look at me today. Did I die? It doesn't kill you. It makes your legs stronger. It makes you fitter. You have six-pack. You have six-pack. And there's a very strong word called resilience. So, my dear brothers and sisters, bear this in mind, and I wish you all a very successful outing today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for that. That's actually the essence of this gathering and on this special date. I know today is not the 14th of February, but we're in that season of love, and with love in our hearts and celebrating the moments, we decided to come up with this because, as he said, with his whole speech and everything, I could pick out three things actually. And they are, one, you have to always build yourself. That's one. You have to always build yourself. Two, you have to have exposure. That exposure boils down to the third one, which is networking. You have to meet people. There is someone here who is into a particular thing, and someone else is also here who needs that service. So why go out there looking for it where you know that, okay, I can actually refer you to someone within this congregation? That's creating value for ourselves. Okay, so on that note, I want to also welcome the next speaker. That's Dr. Mrs. Ifoma Osai. I know a lot of us have questions. Anyone here with questions for Mr. Banjo? Any question? Any question at all? So if you have any question at all, just write it down. After the speakers are done, with their presentations, then you can channel your questions directly. Afterwards. You're welcome, ma. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For God and for youths. Good. Okay, so today we are going to talk about mindset. It is one thing for you to develop yourself. It is one thing for you to have the right networks. It is one thing for you to have the right opportunities. But it is another thing for you to actually use those things to succeed. Now, what is mindset? What do you understand mindset to be? I want 2 volunteers. If you can just stand. Okay, you've talked about yourself, but I want you to just stand. Can we have... Sorry, can we have you in front? Yes, you. Okay, so looking at the 2 of them, it's true she has told us about herself. But when you see her, what first of all comes to your mind? That's, how do you place her? If you've never met them before, you see the both of them, what comes to your mind? Right? Basically, what am I trying to say? You could see somebody, maybe somebody flamboyantly dressed, and let's say dressed corporately, that's putting on clothes for the office. And what comes to your mind? You'll be like, okay, maybe this is a banker, or that's, you immediately start thinking of where the person could be working. And then you see some other person maybe putting on jeans, trousers, and canvas on a Tuesday afternoon, and you just conclude, okay, this one has nothing doing. She's not working, right? But sometimes, thank you, sometimes you may be wrong. Some corporate people actually dress down. you might be looking at the CEO of a multi-million naira company or dollars company putting on t-shirt and jeans, and you be like, this one we no get to work. Right? So, while they work on the slides, I want to tell us a story to paint a picture in our heads. I want to tell us a story about somebody we'll call Samuel. Okay, so Samuel graduated from the university with a first-class degree, but has not been able to get a good job. You know, whenever he gets a job, he doesn't last long and he's out. And finally, Samuel gets interviewed by a company. And at the final stage of the interview, while with the CEO of the company, the CEO tells him, I don't know, do you think you can keep to time? I'm very particular about time management. And Samuel says, yes, I can. The long and short of the story is that Samuel got the job. And 2 weeks into the job, Samuel gets to be paid an allowance. While paid that allowance, he meets a friend of his like 1 or 2 days later. Are we together? We are talking about Samuel. Samuel that had been looking for a job and finally got a job. Now, 2 days after being paid that allowance, Samuel meets his all-time friend, Dave. And Dave wants Samuel over that weekend to hang out with him. And Samuel says, no, if I go out with you, I'll go late for work tomorrow. And he says, wait, now only you they work. This your money self, make we chop am, make we chop am. After all, it's been long you saw me, let's go out and hang out. And Samuel agrees, he goes out with Dave. And of course, he has a hangover and goes late for work the following day. Not just the following day, his friend Dave was around for 4 weeks. So for the rest of that week, so for the rest of that week, Samuel kept going late to work. And one day, his boss called him and said, Samuel, what is going on? You keep coming late to work and you just act nonchalantly. And Samuel says, Oga, you make so much money selling these transformers that you sell. How much do you pay me? The salary you pay me is not enough for you to afford me to be coming early. And the boss gets surprised and tells Samuel he's fired. Samuel says, yes, I will willingly go. So now, I want us to be interactive. From your opinion, what do you think are those things that made Samuel lose that job? 1. 2, what are the things that could have possibly made Samuel to have been jobless over a long period of time before even getting this particular job we're talking about? I want us to be interactive, please. Microphone. Your response.
For God and for youth. My name is Akali Testa. What I think that makes Samuel to lose the job, 1, Samuel lose focus. 2, it's not intentional. And I think he didn't have a goal, because when you have a goal, you should know where you are going to and avoid distractions. These are the major things that I found.
Okay, thank you very much. So Samuel lost focus and Samuel had no goals. So he actually didn't know where he was heading.
For God and for youth. My name is Charity Ogidi. Okay, I think the reason why Samuel lost the job is his friend must have influenced his mindset. Ever since he started going out with his friend, he had a negative attitude towards his job. Thank you.
Any other person?
For God and for youth. My name is Ofowete Jiri, and I feel that the major reason Samuel lost the job was because of negative peer pressure, and it happens very often in society.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
We're actually answering only one question. You asked two questions. You asked what took him so long to get the job?
Yes.
And then why did he lose the one he got?
For God and for youth. My name is Vincent Egbara. I think why he has not gotten a job for so long is because of the attitude he showcased at the end. Maybe after looking at everything, he thought it wise that he need to change to get a job. That is why it took him very long, for so long to get a job, after working on his attitude. But afterwards, his friends came to him and maybe they brought that attitude back again. So I think, I don't know.
Okay, so we'll be answering this question, right, as we go on. And before the end of this training, we would have filled the necessary things here. So we stop here for now. Now let us define mindset. What is this mindset we are talking about? Okay, before we define mindset, let's do a quick exercise. You raise your hand to answer. So, question 1, do you believe you have a certain amount of intelligence? There's a certain amount of intelligence God blessed you with, right? And that is it. You can't really do much about it. You're either too intelligent or you're not intelligent. So, do you believe you have a certain amount, or intelligence is fixed? You cannot force things into somebody's brain if it is not there. If you strongly agree, can we see your hands? Strongly agree. You can. Strongly agree. Just you. Agree. Agree. Okay. Disagree. Strongly disagree. Wow. Okay. While we can learn and get stronger in certain areas, our IQs remain fairly static. That's your IQ. Either you have high IQ or low IQ. Right? While we can learn and get stronger in certain areas, our IQs remain fairly the same throughout our lives. That's your level of intelligence remains fairly the same. Have you seen somebody that the IQ increased at some point in their life or decreased? So strongly agree. Can we see your hands? While we can learn and get stronger in certain areas, our IQs remain fairly the same throughout our lives. Strongly agree. Agree. Disagree. Strongly disagree. Some people didn't answer. You cannot be in between, no. You cannot be in between. There's something we're doing. We're going somewhere from here. Strongly agree. You say no. Agree. No. Disagree. Only one person. 3 people. Strongly disagree. Some people are not. See, I want us to take a stand. There's something we're doing. It's going to help you. It's going to make you understand what we're talking about better, and you're going to use it in your life. So I want us to take a stand. Please, I'll take it again. While we can learn and get stronger in certain areas, our IQs remain fairly the same. IQ, your intelligence quotient, it remains fairly the same throughout our lives. If you strongly agree, can we see your hands? Everybody must raise a hand once. Can we see your hand if you strongly agree? If you agree, can we see your hands up? Disagree, can we see your hands up? Strongly disagree. Okay, so take note of your responses. We are going to mark it at the end. So for the ones you get right, 5 points. Question 3, people are born with artistic ability and talent. You either have it or you don't. True or false? So do you believe people are born with artistic ability and talent? That is, it is natural. It is natural. So do you strongly agree that people are born with artistic ability and talent? Either they have it or they don't. Strongly agree. Can we see your hands? Okay, so most people strongly agree. Okay, question 4. The great athletes are naturals. That is, naturally talented and born with great physical ability in sports. Okay, athletes on the tracks, people that, like, what are their names? Ronaldo, Messi. Now, are they naturally born with that? Are they naturally talented? So strongly agree. Strongly agree. Strongly disagree. Okay. Then the final question. You are a certain kind of person, and there is not much that can be done to really change your kind of person. Strongly agree. Agree. Disagree. Strongly disagree. Okay, so you will mark it yourselves and tell yourself the truth. If you answered okay, so we said each question is 5 points. We have 5 points here. So if in your responses, so each is 5 points. If in your responses, from your responses, how many of you think you got like 5 points? You got 5? How many got 5 points? Let's see your hand. If you got 5 points, in fact, come to the front. Seriously, you will understand what we are doing. If you got 5 points, come to the front. 10 points. Okay, 5 points is coming to the front. Each one is 5 points. Each one, we are getting there. Each one is 5 points. So for anyone you answered, it's 5 points. Now, so if from okay, I get what you're saying. So, strongly agree. Let's say strongly agree is 5 points. It goes down. Okay, if you have a certain amount of intelligence, if you agree to that, 5. Anyway, just mark each one 5 points, right? For the ones you strongly agreed to, 5 points, right? Anyone you strongly agreed to, 5 points. So she made 5/25. Now, 10 points. If you think you got 10 points, can we see your hands up? Okay, just stand there. 15 points. Okay, so the rest of you got like 25 points, right? Thank you very much. Now, let us get down to business. if you scored 5 points, it means you have what they call a growth mindset. And if you scored 5 to 10 points, you have a growth mindset. And anything outside of that is what we call a fixed mindset. We'll explain it as we go on. Thank you. So you see that it's actually, the growth mindset is actually preferred to the fixed mindset. So there's a lot of work to be done. If the majority of you have a fixed mindset, it means you need to work on yourselves. Now, what is a mindset? Mindset is a fixed set of beliefs, experiences, and assumptions that define your reality. You see the world through your mindset. Did we understand that? Your mindset is in your head. And it is made up of assumptions, your experiences, and your beliefs. Your beliefs could be from, your environment when growing up. Maybe things your parents taught you, right? For instance, you're Christians today, and you're not Muslims. You were born into it, right? Okay. Now, we have two types of mindsets. We are going to focus our discussion on the research carried out by Carol Dweck. Okay? So, if you look at this, you'll see there are two heads there, right? One head has something like a tree inside, and the other one has a padlock. That is how we are generally, our mindsets. One type of mindset is growth, and the other one is fixed. Now, what is a growth mindset and what is a fixed mindset? People with fixed mindsets believe, for instance, that intelligence, it comes naturally. There's really nothing much you can do about it. They are naturally intelligent, they are naturally gifted, But it has its own disadvantages. We'll get to that. People with a growth mindset believe intelligence is not fixed. I do not know, but I can know. I did not go to school because my parents did not have money, but that does not mean that I cannot succeed in life. My parents did not have anything, or I didn't even meet my parents. I suffered a lot. I'm still suffering. But that does not mean that you cannot be richer than Dangote tomorrow. We will get there. Now, does mindset matter? It matters. Okay. This is another depiction of the two types of mindsets. Okay? Who can you easily identify growth mindset and fixed mindset here? Which one is growth? Which one is fixed? This is fixed. This is fixed. You see how they described it? Big block of cement. Do you see how bad it is to have a fixed mindset? There are some people, even in businesses, they feel nobody can do it better than me. My sales girl, her wahala is too much. You see some people complaining that in their companies, everybody rubbish, zero. It is only them that know it all. Those people have fixed mindsets. It is difficult to work with those people. And this is how bad it is. It is described as, it is the drawing, the diagram, as a block of cement. And the other is, it's a little plant in a pot. But we know that as long as it's a plant, it will grow. Okay, so this is the study by Carol Dweck. She used this diagram to describe a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Okay, so people with fixed mindsets believe intelligence is fixed. It's natural, it is just there, it's fixed. They're intelligent, they're better than you. You can never be better than them. Right? But somebody with a growth mindset can know that, yes, you're more intelligent than me. I don't know. Let me work on myself so that I will know. I might not even know as much as you do, but at least whatever little I can know, let me know. People with fixed mindsets find it difficult to receive positive feedbacks and criticisms. You cannot, even when they are doing something wrong, you dare not say it. You dare not say it because it will, bring up much more problems. I don't know, as we're talking, are you visualizing some people that you know like that, or yourself? Right? Are you visualizing maybe yourself? Do you behave that way? When people try to correct you, you take offense. That means you have a fixed mindset and you need to work on it. People with growth mindset, on the other hand, they are open to criticisms and positive feedback. People with fixed mindsets feel there's no need putting more effort than is necessary. Like that boy, he told his boss, that's Samuel, our Samuel, right? Samuel told his boss, the money you pay me is not enough to make me come early to work. There was no need for him to stress himself further. Right? The money you pay me is not enough for me to come early to work. There's no need for them to put in extra effort. People with growth mindset, however, because they know, they feel there's a need for them to grow. So you see them constantly trying to improve themselves, constantly trying to grow, open to receive feedbacks and criticisms because they believe it will make them better. Okay, this is still talking about growth mindset and fixed mindset, the characteristics. Now, ask yourself, what type of mindset do I have? Now, if from all that we have just talked about, you think you have a fixed mindset, is there a way forward? Does it mean with your fixed mindset you can, since from the research is done, it shows that fixed mindsets are bad. They hinder people's progress in life. I want to ask you a question. If, for instance, somebody comes in, feeling like, I know it all, and the person wants to be maybe part of your group, would you give that person a leadership position? Yes or no? No. So you see that automatically that feeling of, I know it all, it is a negative trait. It is not even something good. It makes people immediately, they profile you and they decide on what to do with you even before you go further. Okay, so before we continue, I want to tell us about, I don't want to talk about myself, even though they said I should talk about myself, but I want to talk about somebody who we all know. He's a man that lost his father at a very, very early age. You all know him. If you don't know him, somehow you must have heard about him, or you know people that have heard about him. He lost his father at a very early age. And by the age of 7, he started hawking akara. He joined his mom in her akara business. We all know what akara is, right? It's not the type of akara they sell here in Lekki, that they sell in Ebano, in packs. This is akara. The mom will get firewood, right? And stay by the roadside or the front of their house, fry it, and then he and his brother would take some and carry on their head and be shouting, "Buy akara," on the streets early in the morning. Probably, okay, he even stopped school, so it wasn't even before going to school. So while he's meant to be going to school, he'll be hawking akara. So at some point, he left for Lagos with one of his uncles, and he worked with his uncle as an automobile apprentice, selling motorcycle spare parts. Okay, so he was there as an apprentice, that's to learn the business. 7 years into working with his uncle as an apprentice. We all know how the apprenticeship thing works. The person learns the trade for a while, and then at some point the master settles the person. Okay, so he was with his uncle for 7 years, and one day the uncle got so angry with him because he locked up their shop for 3 days going to church. And when the uncle confronted him about it, he said that it is so that he can pray about that their business now, that it is so that he can pray about the business, and God, we answer them so that they can be progressing the more. The uncle said, okay, no problem. And the uncle settled him with 200 naira. Even at that time, 200 naira was small money. And he actually confronted his uncle about this, to at least settle him. The uncle didn't get him a shop. The uncle didn't give him some spare parts to start selling. He just gave him 200 naira. And the uncle told him to go. Well, he left and started up a business with his brother, who was already running a business. And it didn't last long too, because he and his brother, they had different mindsets. Their ideologies were clashing. The brother believed this is how things are done, A, B, C, D. But he believed, I think if we do it this way, it will be better. And the brother was like, no, you this boy, you're too stubborn. You don't listen. And the brother paid him off. I think he got 310 naira or something like that. So finally, he started his own business. And the person I'm talking about today is none other than Cosmos Madoka, the owner of Coscharis Motors. Do we know him? Okay, so we're going to watch a little video where he was talking about his life. Can we watch the video? No, I don't know why they kept it. Okay, so while the video is being set up, like the first speaker said, that for you to progress in life, you need to, one, have a goal. You need to be focused and you need to walk towards it. Now, remember our story of Samuel. I saw it 3 minutes. Remember our story about Samuel, right? Now, I want us to see this hill as One, Samuel's mindset, made up of his bad attitude, the beliefs he had as a person, the experiences he has had in life, right? When you have a bad experience, most times it affects how you react in future to certain things, right? So let us look at this hill as being made up of his mindset and all the negative things that, in fact, not just all the negative things, everything that's made up Samuel. Now, for Samuel, if you have a fixed mindset, you can actually move to having a growth mindset. How do you do that? You have to come to a point of realization where you agree that, yes, you have a fixed mindset. There's a problem. Identify the negative things about you and decide to get rid of them. So I want us to look at this place as a sea. Are we together? Down here is a sea, okay? So that is why we have thrown Samuel's peer influence into the sea, his negative attitude into the sea, his loss of focus into the sea, everything bad, everything that would hinder him from progressing in life, we dump it into the sea. And he has to put on a positive attitude. Have that be intentional about progressing, about developing himself, right? Like the first speaker said, maybe doing some free online courses, anywhere you can learn. I would like to mention at this point that I, as a person, I started life working for free. Are we together? Some people actually work for free, like he mentioned. And we saw that at some point, eventually he got the job. Okay, so we'll look at this place as the growth mindset. That's for you to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. You have to put on positivism, work on yourself. So what are the things that Samuel needs to work on himself to be able to move, to get rid of these negative things and move to his goal? This is his goal, right? Everything he wants for himself in life, his goals in life. So how can he achieve these goals in life? He drops the negative things here. What are the positive things he should put up? The first, yes?
Like I said earlier, I mentioned goal. When you set a goal for yourself, it's not just thinking towards it. You write it down. By the time you write it down, you start strategizing yourself on how to achieve it. By then, that will lead you to being focused and being intentional. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so for him to achieve these goals, he has to have a vision, right? You have to see yourself in that place you want to be and work towards it. Now, when you see yourself in that place you want to be, you have to drop the traits and the characteristics, the bad attitudes that will prevent you from going there. Now, some of the bad attitudes might be being negative. Okay, let me not use the word negative, but for instance, instead of saying, I can never be educated, I can't be, who dashed me school? I don't have the money. Say, I can't be educated yet, but I will. Okay, so that brings us to the power of yet, right? Behind every negative thing that could, when you identify the things that could help project you there, right? You add yet. I don't have the money yet. I don't have the knowledge yet. It doesn't end in that negative thing. You add yet, and you make efforts to see yourself achieving those goals. Okay, so can we have the video? Just 2 minutes. It's important. Okay, so while they are still on it, so for you to imbibe or, feel the full effects of the power of yet, you need to, there are certain phrases you need to work on. For instance, you need to see yourself, visualize yourself moving from, for instance, I can't do it, to I'll try to do it. Right? I can't do it. It is done like a staircase. Right? Here is, I can't do it. I can't achieve it. But when you believe in yourself, work on yourself, that means you're trying. I can try to do it. That's a step up, right? I can try to do it. You make efforts. You take another step. I will do it. Right? Are we understanding? Are we together? You take another step up. I will do it until you do it. Okay, so let's watch the video. So this is a video, an interview with Cosmos Maduka, talking about his life. We just want you people to hear from his mouth his experiences and what got him to where he is. He actually mentioned on a number of occasions that it is mindset. He never gave up on himself. He mentioned at some point that his mother always told him that, the mother made him have confidence in himself, that people cannot say no to him. So even when he was selling his akara as a little boy, he knew that whenever he's going out with that akara to sell, he was going to sell it and come back. And he walked like that with life. It's not working. This thing, no audio in this computer.
Maybe it's his distance.
It's the computer. He's talking. He's talking. Where's the volume? Okay, I guess we have to stop here. So the organizers will share the video to you, the link to the video, and you watch it in your private time. Thank you. So if you have questions at the end of the third speaker.
A round of applause. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. To make this whole session actually quick, let's just call on the last speaker, Mr. Ifeanyi Yama, who is going to talk about the career pathway change.
For God and for youth. For God and for youth. I stand between you and your party, right? I guess I'm not the most liked person right now. Right? I have a very bad habit. When I do presentations, you see very little writing. It's mostly pictures. So if you don't look at the pictures and listen, you will totally be lost. So if I give you these slides afterwards, you find little or nothing useful to you. Before we start, I was given this topic, career path, way change. I battled to understand it. How many of you here are very optimistic about their careers? Very optimistic. And who are the guys here who are concerned about their careers? And I'm serious. Are you concerned about your career? You want to make something good out of it, right? That's our reality. Can you see this picture here? The question is straightforward. For a first selection, everybody has to take the same exam. The exam is to climb the tree. Hello? It's a first selection. Do you agree? Do you agree? Anybody who says yes, please give him the mic. Let him explain why he agrees. Please give him the mic, quickly.
Who is saying yes?
Yes.
Why I agree is because everyone is not good on the same thing. You maybe when you come for something that you want to come and check what you can do about it, you know already that this is what is required of it, right? And then you come. Possibly you should not be there.
Okay, I get your perspective, but looking at this picture, from this picture, is it the first election? Sorry?
Any other alternative opinion?
They say no. What do you say is no? Let's hear.
Okay, first of all, we have different animals there. We have a monkey that can climb a tree. We all know an elephant can't climb a tree. So for you to be fair, you can't bring these animals together and ask them to climb a tree in order to select them.
There's a fish there. There's a penguin.
Someone has a different opinion.
Please, let's hear him.
I don't think it's a fair selection because all the animals, they all live in different habitats. Like the elephants, they are terrestrial habit, they stay on the land, while the monkeys, they stay in the bush around trees, while the other animals, like the fish right there, it stays in the water. So it's not a fair exam.
Okay, I think the views are clear. The picture is clear. I like the perspective of Godsend. I like the other perspectives. I started with this picture because our careers in the real world is like this. This is the world you're going to go into or you're living in. The career path in the world is not fair from day one. So if you have to be prepared to approach it with a very growth mindset. Thank you, sister, for that input. So a lot of us here are here today because we have concerns. What does the future hold for our careers? What does it hold for the economy? Right? What does it hold for technology? There isn't any confusion that technology today, like my brother Victor mentioned, is totally transforming the way we live, work, and play. He gave an example on the board. If you remember his slides, he showed you Airbnb, you remember? Showed you Uber. These are companies that have evolved by leveraging what we call digital assets. They own practically nothing, yet they are multi-billion-dollar businesses. Our sister who spoke earlier has spoke about the growth mindset. He called it the paradigm shift. The challenge we live in today is that these digital disruptors, we call them, are beginning to question what happens to our careers. There's a school of thought that argues very strongly that a lot of jobs will be destroyed. Do you agree? Are you seeing it happen? Do you? Similarly, I belong to another school who holds a different view, who agrees that a lot of jobs will be destroyed with technology or by technology, but technology will create a larger set of new jobs. The question I'm asking all of you, which is what links to the career path and way change, how are you preparing for the new world? How are you preparing for the new world? It will have been very perfect for me to have left this slide to just leave on what Victor has presented. It's all about paradigm shift, right? And a growth mindset. But I'm going to take it from a perspective of the opportunities that exist in the new world we're looking at. Because coming from where we went to school in the 80s and 90s, it was perfectly okay to study English and maneuver and begin to change. Today, if you begin from English in the world of today, you are like the elephant who's been asked to climb a tree. You can climb that tree, but you have to agree and accept within yourself that your path is going to be much, much more tougher. So in making career choices at an early age, we need to begin to look at the future and prepare for that future. So your career is like a man who is in the blindfolded and trying to find what? His way in the dark. But with strategic thinking and planning and good guidance, you will be able to navigate that path. So these are some key findings. This is from the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria. Nigeria, as at 2021, we have a 33.3%. By December, actually, had changed 35%. But let's not worry about the figures. Unemployment simply means the amount of persons who are qualified for work, willing to work, but cannot find a job. So, of every 100 Nigerians who are ready to work, 33% of them today can't find a job. 22.8%, another 23%, are working in areas that they are overqualified for. So we call them underemployment. For example, I have a law degree, but I'm working as a driver in a company. Some of us here have fantastic degrees, but having to accept jobs that we think, right, we are overqualified for. So you're underemployed. And youth unemployment. Did you see that? Youth is at what level? That's our reality. This is Nigeria. This is Nigeria. So with these statistics facing us in the face, how do you then prepare for a career? And how do you align your career to the next future? But before we run into the guide, there are other facts I want to present to you. Other facts. That those of us who are thinking of going to the abroad, that 47% of total employment in developed countries is today at risk of what? Automation. That these new things we are discussing about automation, which I will delve into when I take you through my own journey, will reveal some things for you. And that 85% of jobs that will be available in 2030, according to IFTF means Institute for the Future. I'm asking every one of you to please take your phones and note the website for IFTF, Institute for the Future. I will share documents here with the planners to forward to everybody to begin to study the kind of subjects, courses that will be relevant into the future and how analysts are pairing into it. Hello? Great. Thank you. So if you have 85% of the jobs that will be available by 2030, yet to be created, who am I then to advise you on career? Really, I mean, be very fair with me. Some of you are in your early 20s, some are in their teens. I'm only saying that 8 years from now, the jobs that will be available then don't even exist today. So how can I begin to advise you? I'm almost approaching 50. Where do I start from? That's my reality, that's our reality. In other words, we're preparing for a world that is so changing at a rate that how we have to prepare for it is almost faster than we can think. So we must be agile, very agile. It will be created at a very rapid pace, and changing jobs will become what? More common. Remember the story of Victor Banjo? How many jobs did he navigate through? You can see that it's as if we had a meeting together to prepare our slides. He's coming from his experiences, and I'm sharing with you how things are happening today to prepare yourself. So be prepared on how to navigate these rigors, these different bridges. So the career planning process will be our next conversation. Here I am on step 1. Everything that Victor has shared today, or what my sister has also spoken about, would also play a part in the things I will share. So let's start. Step one. You need to understand yourself. There's no point saying, I hear that Chioma is studying medicine in school, so I can study what? Medicine. Whereas Chioma has the tenacity to read for 14 hours. And you know very well that when the piano sounds here, the keyboard sounds, your entire system begins to giggle. Will you then find yourself doing well in medical school if the sound of the keyboard is what stimulates your birds? So the first thing you need to do is to understand yourself. Who am I? And I will spend a deck here to look at how to analyze who you are. Victor spoke about getting a mentor. You can't think of having a career in the world of today and not having someone have to put you through. Somebody who's gone through that path, think of him like a mentor, telling you he's walked the path for the past 26, 30 years of his career, and you are about to begin your first baby steps. If you didn't have your mothers and daddies teach you how to walk as a baby, will anybody walk? Will we walk? That's the role of a mentor. They've navigated the career path. So please, to begin your journey, if you have not done so, find somebody, make your research, and get someone to nominate as your mentor. Explore career information. It might sound very hypothetical. He gave you an example of Coursera, how he sat down and ran courses and went to school from his house. There are so many, if you just Google it, you will find so many areas where you can learn about career courses. He spoke about the issue of, or the subject of volunteering. Told you when he volunteered. Can you see it's coming up here again? Again, that if you are planning very strongly, this volunteering can be instead of internship. I will tell you my life story. I mean, I've worked, we'll get there later on. The things we've done where we gathered experiences before we came to today. And when you see people driving those Benzes and the Lexuses, you think they just jumped from the ceiling or from the sky and fell to the ground. It didn't happen that way. We all have our humble beginnings. We all did. So you need to find those opportunities. I want to move from being a lecturer into programming. But I know that I studied psychology in school. Who will give me a job as a programmer? The chances are almost zero. Almost zero. However, if you approach Mr. Amma today and tell me I want to learn programming, I want to work for you as an intern for the next 6 months, the chances are I'll look at you like somebody who wants to learn and will open the door for you to come on board without asking you, what did you study? You get my point? Okay. Then you should be ready to transition. Our biggest challenge in life today is that we think, talk. When it comes to act, we are slow to act. You must be willing to take a risk. And as you take that risk and take action, please learn this word today. Leave here with this phrase. If you didn't learn anything from Mr. Ifeanyi Amma, learn the phrase, learn to fail forward. Because you would fall and you would fail. But fail what? Forward. So when you get up, you do what? I will go back again. That's the greatest thing you should take out from my time with you today. Let's delve into those characteristics. Personal self-awareness. Your self-awareness has to do with your skills and abilities. I spoke about the keyboard. If I told any of you today that I went through school paying my fees as a DJ, will you believe it? I was called DJ Freaky in university. DJ Freaky. F-R-E-A-K-Y. You wouldn't believe it today. It sounds almost unthinkable, right? But because I loved music from onset. So it served a purpose. It took me through university. Handsomely so. But I'll go back to that. What are your values? He spoke about that. You can't teach a hen how to fly. Forget it. It won't happen. So knowing, if you grew up in a home where your dad is a teacher, certain things you learn as a teacher, they will bring it down your throat. If your father was what they call, Brother Remy, the catechist, you must learn rosary from when you're very small, automatically. So there are certain values you pick up from home that wouldn't change. If you know very well, like I do, that I will not accept or settle bribe, then I make a very conscious decision from day one not to play government business. So I know my values. I know my values are in conflict with public sector, and I make a decision I wouldn't play there. The third step is knowing your personal attributes. Those are the skills she spoke about. Am I able to wake up very early in the morning and go to work by 8 a.m. every day? Am I designed for that? Do I have that discipline to deal with it? I could learn, but will this change me drastically from who I am? What are my desired future lifestyle? I want to grow up and I want to be able to wear a hair, dreadlocks, weave my hair as I like, but I want to work in a bank. Is it going to happen? Yeah, in a Nigerian bank, will it happen? I wouldn't. So from the onset, knowing yourself, it's critical towards choosing a career path, because sometimes these things don't blend. Now, there's a needs versus the want. I wouldn't school you about needs versus want. You all know, what needs versus want are. So let us spend time schooling on that. Then, what are the experiences you've acquired before now? Some of us today have learned how to do makeup. Some have learned how to weave hair from home. Some have learned how to sew. When you look at their CVs, you never see those things in their CV. They prepare a CV for a job, but they never mention the fact that they are very good in hairstylist and they have a fantastic makeup skills. Or they participated in a beauty pageant. These are the experiences you've acquired, and you never know what the would-be employer is looking out for. You have no clue. You walked into the interview blind, but you've reserved your CV to tell the story of what you think they want to hear. Now lie. All the experiences you have, load it. I spent 3 months following my mom to the shop to sell akara. Put in your CV. I am telling you, please, I am telling you, it's my experience. And Victor can reason and tell you this as well. If you followed your mom to the shop, Lagos Island Market, if you drove Okada with your father, you act as a bus conductor, put it in your CV. It can bring out the soft skills that we never knew that are important for the employer. It can show that you're very humble. It can show that you accept the soft beginnings. It can show you have leadership. It can show you're bold and you can speak. This could be the attribute the new world is looking for, not your qualification in your first degree. Hello? These are the skills employers are looking for today, not the qualification in your degree. Okay? So we'll move quickly. So in the light of the things we're learning today, there's a big question. What jobs won't be at risk in this future we're looking at? I'm a tech person. I didn't spend time talking about myself yet. I saved it at the end. So I inverted all about Victor Banjo's presentation. They began by, that is the way the things are done. But I waited for the end to tell you my story. Then you know about me. So any ideas what jobs you think will be at risk in the future will not be available? So that when you're choosing your career, you don't even think about them. Sorry? Speak out. Sorry?
IT, I think.
Accounting. IT won't be available in the future. Oh, won't be at risk. Oh, won't be at risk. IT won't be. Accounting won't be. Anything else? Will be at risk. Okay, which ones won't be at risk so that we can all just do that course and
human relations
will not be at risk, okay? Medicine will not be, okay? Let me hear from other people. Anyway, there have been groups of people who have analyzed and predicted about jobs that will be valuable and not be available in the future. Unfortunately for them and that school of thought, a lot of those their theories have been proven to be fallacious. So I would not sit down today and tell you that this job, I can beat my chest and go and swear or kneel down in this altar and tell you that, but in fact, on the cross, I can tell you it will never be available. However, I can provide a guideline based on certain things that are happening today and the path we're seeing, which is why we're saying career pathway change. Of the path we're seeing today, of the possibility that as things emerge, some of these skills will still be what? Relevant. Remember, I didn't say jobs. I didn't say what? I said what? So your focus should be on your what? If you have the right skills, you can maneuver through your career. What we lack a lot are what? Skills. When someone sits in front of me in an interview and tells me I want to earn 200,000 naira as a fresher, my first question is, what are you bringing to the table? If I'm willing to pay you 200,000 naira a month, what will you bring in return? What skills do you have that will warrant an employer to pay you money for? It's easy for God sent to say, I have a skill, I can pay the keyboard. True? He sits down here, or you can say, I can sing. So you can create a melodious tune with your voice and begin to make money out of it. That's a skill, right? I can work on digital channels. I'm a digital strategist, so I can manage your social media page. It says what? It's a skill. It's not a job. It's not a job. So the title about jobs, accountant, med, doctor, they will exist, but I don't know about their names into the future. I know that the skill to support human health will still be what? Valuable. Okay? So we'll delve into that. Quickly. I think I already touched this already. People are thinking and they are saying, listen, no such thing exists. No one can predict what would happen into the future. So we shouldn't dwell on that. But these are the things I want us to look at. The skill sets that are important is a bit tiny. The design mindset, the analyst mindset. But these are the key changes we have in industries. The computational world will exist. Our world is going more tech, more tech, more tech. AI will continue to exist. We'll go more into the metaverse, into virtual reality, into robotics. And the fact that these things are disrupting our world means that the disciplines and the skill sets of software programmers will be what? Relevant. The skill set of the data analysts will be what? Relevant. Because we're dealing in a world where more data, more computation will be required. And for that to take place, people have to acquire skills to be able to support those industries. One of the things I find wrong in our educational system is that fundamentally, education should be aligned towards what industries offer. But we have a system in Nigeria where we are producing botanists, zoologists, whereas there is no industry for them to feed into. So we go into school, we make career choices of just about our courses at the age of 16, 17, blinded by following what the JAM form says. The JAM form says if I have a C in physics, chemistry, and I have a C in maths and English, and any other science, I qualify for the sciences, right? Even our secondary schools mend us into science classes and what? Art classes. The moment you miss a chance for medical school, you step down to pharmacy. If they didn't take me in pharmacy, I go to Oswald, or botany, or biochemistry, true or false? So already, you've taken yourself into a path that there's no industry to consume you at all. It would have been better for you to have sat down at that time to learn sewing or fashion designing. Because there's no point spending mommy and daddy's money after 4 years or 5 years of finishing first degree, masters, and then come back to go and learn fashion designing. If you had begun fashion designing 6 years ago, by the time people are leaving their master's program, you'll have established and be ready to do what? Employ them. Hello? I mean, am I speaking someone's mind? I'm speaking to myself. We can't change that we live in a global connected world. And those realities means that those skill sets that are critical about understanding human behavior, relative to our environment will still be very useful. So what she refers to as HR, I will look at it more from understanding human behavior and human psychology and see how it relates to the current environment. Those skill sets will continue to be what? Useful. Very useful. I don't know about the word HR because our reality today is that unless you work for an HR agency, a company can have only as many HR people. But can I share a story with all of you? A company called Microsoft is known for what technology? Are they a tech company or medical or health? Tech. Would you believe that Microsoft has more lawyers than programmers? Would you? But why? Why do you believe? Okay. The truth is that there are actually 1.5 people more of lawyers than techies in Microsoft. The reason is simple. They need people to protect their intellectual property. Their greatest asset is intellectual property, not the tech that you and I see. And those who know how to write the documentation to protect those assets, because these are their valuable assets, are lawyers. So there are several things we might see. Amazon, you see every day, and we shop on Amazon. Is what kind of business? Sorry? Online retail, okay. E-commerce, okay. Amazon is the biggest logistics company in the world. Their biggest business is what? Logistics. That's what they know how to do best. The e-commerce is a bloody front end, pardon my French, for you to just do shopping. A guy who spent 2 years, or a lady in 2 years in program can design an e-commerce shop front. True or false? So that's not a big deal. So these are the skill sets we see that will be relevant into the future. Skill sets, I didn't say what? So, caregiving, doctors, medical technicians, physics therapists, workplace. These are people who will still be relevant. Those in the social intelligence and new media literacy. What she does, for example, you are in that space. So they will continuously evolve because our world is becoming so connected that every one of you sitting here might be shocked that by the time you go to the embassy for an interview, they already know you before they ask you, who are you? So your visa approval has taken place even before they said good morning. You'll be surprised to learn that every post you put on IG, you put on the different names. There's a simple tool my guys designed within 2 days. That if we call up your name, we can do a social media sentiment analysis on you and determine your character before an interview. So when you come for an interview and you're coming to speak the stories, we have a dossier of who we are speaking to. And the same thing is happening at embassies, happening for big jobs you want to apply for. So be very mindful for those of us who want to do like this. Okay? Who people convince to send nudity to them on social media. Be very careful. This is our reality. Because those things determine your future and they affect your career. So, when I was preparing this, this is my last slide, or not the least. But I felt it would be unfair for us to go into a career talk in the Nigeria of today and not discuss the topic of ja or who are those who want to ja? Can I see their hands? Let's see your hand if you want to ja. Honestly, tell me, you want to japa? Who are those who want to stay? Irrespective of which side of the fence you are on, there is a reality that even if they open the borders of Europe today ajar, that some of us here will not be able to get there. It's not village trouble, oh. It's not home trouble, oh. The reality of life, if they throw that border open and say anybody come, some of us will not be able to find the money to just travel to get there. So it is practically impossible that all of us will be able to japa. And based on that, I wouldn't tell you my story. Why am I here? My first degree is in what we call telecoms engineering in a school called FUTO in Nigeria. Okay? FUTO, Federal University of Tech in Owerri. I grew up in Owerri. My dad worked for an oil and gas company and was a big boy. Very big boy by all standards. Grew up in a home that had 17 cars as far back as 1982. My eldest brother went to Uniben with a 504. By the time I was preparing to go to university, my dad decided to resign from work and attempt his foray into being an entrepreneur. And the story went from to, I wouldn't spend time dwelling on his own. The fundamental important point was that that slope happened to coincide at a time I was beginning to do what? Grow. End result, my mom passed heart failure. My dad passed. And left us 6, 7 of us. I was just 15 going 16 when this happened. So I tasted the silver spoon and now face a world that was totally different. So we moved from the big mansion we all used to live in, from mansion to a 4-5-bedroom duplex, to a bungalow, to a flat, and later to a 2-bedroom BQ. 2-bedroom what? BQ. I was in what they call SS2 in Federal Government College, Warri, a very egalitarian school of those days. So I began the little trade I could, go to the market. My dad had started introducing me to the market. After I left work, had challenges, opened a shop in Igbudu market in Warri. Everyone knows Warri knows Igbudu market. So we're selling oil and selling fruits. I started running that errands. I was in secondary school. From there, I picked up how to sell children's clothes because my dad's younger sister, my aunt, was selling children's clothes. By the time I was 16, I was coming to Lagos to buy clothes and sell back in Warri. Then I was spending my time with a friend of mine who had a music studio, Omega Studio Vibes. If you know the Eweridos, Father Anthony Ewerido in Warri, his brother Jude owned a studio. That's why I learned how to be a DJ. So when I passed JAMB at 17, Pius, may his soul rest in peace, he used to be a senator, he's late today, gave me a turntable, an amplifier, and 2 speakers. So I went to FUTO with this equipment, and those equipment heralded how I paid my school fees and trained 2 of my younger ones. So at graduation, I left with a 4.42 at graduation. So it wasn't as if I wasn't ordinary. But here came the dilemma. I had done fantastically well in school, qualified for a job, I'm rounded up in 2 minutes. But I was a good DJ, making money and living in Aladimma in Owerri. As a boy in university. How do I start a new life? That's career path. So that's the story I want us to share today. So I had a skill, or rather, a degree in telecoms engineering, a skill in DJ, and a skill in trading, because I also had a shop called House of Gold, which my wife has continued with today, selling clothes in school. It was a big choice. I finally followed the lure of anybody who went to FUTO to work for an oil and gas servicing company. I wanted to be a Schlumberger oil field staff. So jumped out, sat for the Schlumberger interviews, blasted it like anybody else could have blasted the test because I was hot. Got to the final stage of the interview. They looked me in the eyes and said, "Oga, this place is not meant for you." Very simple. No reasons given. So I went through youth service looking for jobs. I found none. 6 months into service, no job. Carried my bag back to Lagos and went into what I understood well. Started sewing boxer shorts. I was staying in a PQ in 49 Iwaya Road. Anybody who knows Iwaya Road, behind Onike, okay? With a friend of mine who some of you will know very well, who today is the MD of DSTV, John Ugbe. We both stayed in the same PQ for 2 years, selling. So while doing that, ran into a friend of his sister's, introduced me to somebody, and finally they gave me a job for youth service back to Port Harcourt. I went to Port Harcourt, joined an oil and gas company called Petrolog, and learned mud logging. 6 months or 4 months into that time, NYSC ended. I was hot, they gave me a job. But what happened to me was I had gone to the field. The entire dream of being a Schlumberger oil and field staff came clear to me that this was just some guys carrying pipes, scrubbing pipes, and collecting big money. I had no use for what? For this. So 1 year into that journey, just about willing to transition, I hung my bag, left Port Harcourt, came back to Lagos to look for where I can use what? My brain. I joined a company called Telnet. I moved from a company that was earning 70K a month in 2001 to earning 11,000 naira a month to do IT. My eldest brother, Barrister Emeka, asked me to get out of his house. He says, you are too comfortable. Because somebody is taking care of you, you want to leave to go and earn less money. At the same time, I was planning my wedding. So I was telling my wife I'm leaving a job of 70K to 11K, and our wedding was in 4 months. Hello? But thank God for having a good woman. She raised no objection. She stood firm, and we moved to Lagos. And I began at 11,000 naira. That job metamorphosed that 4 years later, that trainee engineer turned out to become an executive director in the same company. 4 years later, people who I joined as trainee and they were GMs started reporting to me. So we began that transitioning. What changed? I joined the company, worked as an engineer. After 2 years, I'm like, I am not cut out for this entire engineering thing. I see myself as what? A businessman. I'm an Igbo man. I know how to buy and sell. These skills I've had from day one. I actually moved to the sales department. So I was moved to the sales department, and I blew out all the sales figures. Blew out all the sales figures, and in 2 years, I became an ED. And in 5 years later, I was the MD of the company. So it was purely from harnessing my skills. The same skills I told you guys about, I learned from when? From the age of 16. Those are the same skills that came to bear for me, that gave me the boldness to go anywhere, to sell anything. So today, I run an IT company, but I don't know how to write one line in programming. They think I'm joking. Even Tejiri is wondering. He's really in touch with my company. He thinks I'm joking. I can't write beer in programming. But we run one of the biggest AI companies in Nigeria today. So that metamorphosed, long story short, I took a career dive. There was a phase in my life where I realized that I had worked for Nigerian companies, I had reached the peak, MD, what next? It seemed these big players were like an untouchable. So I woke up one morning, resigned from work, and wanted to go and use time to think of my next stage. So I went to that site called LinkedIn and pressed the button, available and searching. I was on holiday. For the first time, I had no CV. And I can tell you guys till date, I've worked for 24 years, never written a CV in my life. Never have. People have always employed me for my skills, not my CV. So I pressed searching, available. And 2 weeks later, I had invites from Google, Microsoft. And exactly 6 weeks later, I was in Microsoft, offering me a job that was too good for anybody to ever imagine saying no. Covering 13 countries as a CTO, earning money in dollars. So it was like, man, finally we've done what? We've hit the jackpot. So time to, thank you. 12 months into that story, I was asked to, I had delivered on my numbers as a salesman. I I was running CTO and covering what they call the NTE office for Nigeria, engaging government on digital transformation. I delivered on my numbers, met all my targets. I say, fine, there's time for a new challenge. We are moving you now to Saudi Arabia to work as the head account manager for Aramco. Aramco is the equivalent of what we call NNPC in Nigeria. It was interesting. Aramco in Saudi Arabia had a budget for IT that was more than our country's budget. So from a size perspective, it was much bigger. But I looked at it. It was an Islamic country. I'm a Catholic, very strong Catholic. I wasn't ready, my values, to mortgage my values. So I called my guy. I said, well, for you to think of sending me to Saudi Arabia without consulting me, I have chosen to resign without consulting you. So I resigned. And everybody was like, fine, you've worked abroad, there were job offers abroad, you move. And I said, hell no. I'm not going. Why am I not going? Who will change Nigeria? Who will fix Nigeria? It might not be you guys, please. But I have a calling to help fix Nigeria. So I chose to stay back and build a company in Nigeria that today is employing 26 people. So we've evolved from zero revenue to closing a financial year last year at close to £500 million. £500 million on programming AI and robotics in Nigeria. So, Jackpot or stay. Here's my feedback for those who want to Jackpot. It's a good thing. But never ever you assume that it's because I'm looking for a job. Nigeria presents lots of challenges. Security, we can't run away from it. The economy is tough, we can't run away from it. So some of us will be able to travel. If your skills are relevant, you get good jobs, but all of us cannot travel. And people who don't travel would exploit the greatest opportunity called Nigeria. Nigeria is a developing country. The developed countries have very little room more for growth potentials. If your dream is to be an entrepreneur, if your dream is to make a change, if your dream is to influence the world, and then my response to you will be, let's build and invest together. Thank you.
Wow. Mary, you had to even stand up. It's like you enjoyed the last class so well. Okay, quick one, please. The owner of the black Toyota Camry with the plate number AKD 66AGP, please, you have to repark, please. If the owner of this black Camry is here, please, you have to repark. Black Toyota Camry. Black Toyota Camry. Okay, we are done. All the speakers have all given us their presentation, which will amazing. Would you all agree with me? Did you guys all enjoyed it? So much more to come. This is just the first phase, as I said. So much more to come. But before we move outside for the second phase, any question? Any question at all? Oh, hello. Any question at all? Any question? Anything to say? Any question? You want to ask him privately. It's of you to ask him now so other people too can benefit. Now, wow. Share. You have a question?
Mr. Ifeanyi, good afternoon. Please, what is the business you're running now in Lagos, and do you offer training?
I didn't want to spend time selling my company, but I'll tell you the story very quickly. We don't offer training. However, because we went into AI and robotics, we couldn't find a skill set anywhere in the country. There was no one person who had the skills available when we began the company in 2018. So I went into universities, 4 schools, Futo being one of them, Ilorin, and then OAU and Ibadan. And we picked 3 students each from these universities. Brought them to Lagos. They had never been to Lagos before. rented an apartment where I stay, the same estate where I stay, camped them there, and began intensive training. 12 of them, today, only one has left. 11 of them are still in the company. You've met them. Today, 2 of them who had first class for University of Ilorin had never used a computer when they joined us. Had never used a computer. Today, they are programming AI in Nigeria. So we offer internship. We have graduate internship programs, and we also have what we call the WAJE internship program. We can talk about that at a different time. So we offer internship programs to support people who want to learn technology in our field to grow. And it's a very strong mentorship program, not just the skills for programming. You go through a mentorship program as well. Okay?
Follow him and collect his number. Oh. Follow him and collect his number. Okay, Sister Chine has something to say, so let's just give her time.
For God and for youth. On behalf of the committee, we want to appreciate the speakers. To be sincere with you, they only had less than 2 weeks to prepare for this. And see the presentation they've given us so far. So please, we can't even thank you enough. We appreciate everything. Dr. Banjo, Mr. DJ Freaky, aka, and Dr. Ifoma. So we say, please let's say thank you together. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much. So now it's time for us to shake our bodies, and we can't do that inside the church. So the canopies are out there, the tables are set. So let's carry ourselves gracefully and move outside. Please leave the small chop, just leave it to. Okay, they should go with them. Please go with your small chops. Go with your small chops. So please, there now we can dance and play as you want to. You can toast the girl or boy you have been hiding.
Oh, please, as you're going out, there are baskets around. Please trash in the baskets. Please let's not leave litters around.
Let's not leave litters around.
Please, let's trash in the baskets. Thank you so much. There is food though, so if you want to leave your small chop, if you've taken the meat, you can as well leave the rest. You can as well leave the rest. Food there outside. Okay, as we're proceeding outside, please, there will be someone to direct us on how to sit, so we stay in an organized manner and then enjoy the whole party. Thank you very much.